But I'm going to start with Russell T Davies returning to the world of Doctor Who with Big Finish, because there was some new news about his story. How up to date and familiar are you with this, Harry?
I hadn't heard anything beyond the fact that he'd kind of found the old script in his attic and that Big Finish were adapting it.
Yeah, so that was the news we touched on maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago now. But since then, they have announced that it will be a Colin Baker and Bonnie Langford episode story. So 6th Doctor and Mel.
If you'd wanted to kill it off with a blow to the throat, you couldn't have done it more, particularly because it's like, for anyone who was of a certain generation, you would just throw up your hands in horror at the very idea, you know. As a personality, God bless her, she was loathed by an entire generation who would just look upon that as, just think, well, the new Doctor Who companion is this screaming tap dancer. So where do we go from there? You know, and you've already got a Doctor dressed like a clown, and the whole core of the series is just hemorrhaging away, I think, just dissipating from what it's supposed to be about into this kind of overripe panto.
Who later went on to be the 7th Doctor in Mel, and of course the 7th Doctor in Ace. So I think we said it was going to be a Colin Baker episode when we counted back what year it was, and if he had wrote it with the Doctor of the era when he was writing it, which I was quite surprised with. I thought Russell maybe would have wrote for a classic Doctor, a more classic Doctor than Colin. He would have gone back further.
I mean, did he write? My impression is that he wrote this script with the intention of it, like kind of submitting it to the BBC and it being adapted into an actual episode. So if that's the case,
yeah, I don't know if that was the case, but I imagine he would write it thinking this should be on TV, because otherwise, why would you bother?
Yeah.
We also know it's going to be called, here we go, The Mind of Herdiac, Hodiac. Herdiac? How would you pronounce that? Written by Russell T Davies and adapted to Big Finish by Scott Handcock. The 6th Doctor isn't my favourite Doctor. If I really had to pick, it would have been a Tom Baker episode. That would have been amazing to have a Tom Baker, Russell T Davies episode. But maybe something off kilter and a little bit different to what we were expecting will be actually quite fun.
Essentially, because this script, I presume, will have been written something like 20 years before Russell actually wrote for the TV show. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how different his writing style was, whether he attempted to match the tone of the show at the time, whether he's totally off doing his own thing, whether it actually resembles what he ended up doing in 2005.
Everybody just wants chips. They're still listening to Tainted Love. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not a big Finish fan. I know me and Harrison previously have done Big Finish battles, and I've always been semi-critical of some of them. But I think a lot of people are starting to join on to Big Finish now, especially...
I think, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Especially since kind of... I was just going to say, it's probably what you were going to say, kind of especially since Big Finish has started to produce content more directly linked to New Who.
Yeah.
So that's obviously been a big pull for kind of people who currently watch the show.
Yeah, I know some of my exposure to classic Doctors was sometimes first through Big Finish. I want to say the 4th Doctor. I want to say the first time I really got involved in a 4th Doctor story was a Big Finish one. I know they did one. I think they did one for the 40th, and I can't remember what it was called, but it had Tom Baker, Peter Davies, and Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann in it.
All the Big Finish Doctors.
Yeah, and that was really good. That was really, really fun. That was one of the first things I ever listened to from Big Finish. That was great.